Yo, Wagwan, this your boy, brother Numsi, alongside my co-host Dave.
Was
Once
good.
again, yes, sir, another episode of the Sports Time Zone coming right back at y'all for another episode. We got a real dope show for y'all. Again, before we even get started, y'all make sure y'all hit that like, that share, that subscribe, all that. Continue to show some love. We out here trying to get it, doing what we love, and we want to give y'all some fire content. Also, shout out to KE Creations. Y'all notice behind me, they took care of this background that we got going on. They real dope, really good manufacturer out of Miami. They're also responsible for the shirt that I got on right now. So shout out to KE Creations for helping out the show. If y'all looking for it, we'll definitely be giving y'all more information about them. But getting right into it, man, Dave, what's good with you? Salute, brother. How's everything?
Was good. Everything's good with you. How you doing?
I'm straight, man. I'm straight. I'm ready to just dive right into it. There was a lot happened over the last week. We got a lot of support also for the last episode, so we're gonna keep that momentum going. So what we're gonna touch on today, we're gonna talk about a little bit of that college football review. We're gonna break down the bowl games that were played last week. Those the playoff games, of course, with the Texas versus Washington, and then also Michigan and Bama game. We're gonna review that and talk about the predictions for the upcoming Michigan versus Washington championship game. We also got some NFL scores and previews like we always do. A little NBA talk we're going to slide in there, talk about the trade that New York and Toronto did with Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett getting traded for OG Anunoby. Talk about the winners and the losers in that trade. Also, the Pistons finally the Pistons snapping that losing streak that they had it going for. They was touching 30. I don't know. It was getting close to 30.
28. They was right there. 28.
It was right there. So salute to the 313. Y'all boys finally snapped that. What up, though? Shout out my boy Trey Coop. I see you. Also, we're going to talk about a couple of returns. We got Kyrie Irving coming back from a 12-game absence. Also, Zach LaVine is scheduled to come back for the Chicago Bulls in a week after he's missed a long stretch. Conor McGregor making his return. To MMA after being away for so long. He got a fight scheduled in Las Vegas on June 29th. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But man, let's just jump right into it. First things first. Did you get a chance to see? Well, I know you did, but what did you think of that Michigan versus Bama game? I think we both picked Michigan on that game.
I had Alabama.
You had Bama. Okay, that's right. Yeah, you got to eat a little crow. I don't know how you going to you in Michigan and you went against Michigan. See that?
Yeah, people been on my head the last week just on my decisions and how I see the game. So like it's crazy right now.
I bet they did. But you know what? Bama been a powerhouse all year long. They've been a powerhouse all decade long, really. Right. So it's kind of hard to go against them. They played a good game, but Michigan, at the end of the day, this is just their year. Like I was saying last week, I felt like those boys are kind of on a mission. They kind of on a mission to prove the naysayers wrong and to also, I guess, save face for their coach. Because, for a minute, Jim Harbaugh was looking kind of, his face was kind of dirty in the social media, in the media, just in the world of sports, period, with the whole sign stealing thing. So it's good to see that those boys came through and showed up for their coach and did what they said they're going to do. So salute to Michigan in that game.
That game was crazy. Michigan did pull it out, but both teams coming into it was sloppy.
Yeah,
turning the ball over. I didn't like the play caller sometimes, depending on the situation. It was fourth down where they could have went for it. It was just certain calls that changed the momentum of the game. So like it didn't put them in the right position. I didn't like that end call after Nick Saban wasted all those timeouts just to call that QB sneak that didn't do nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. A lot of people say that was a real questionable play. I mean, I don't know
if Nick Saban called that or the offensive coordinator, but that was terrible just to go through all them timeouts and then y'all come with this play.
Yeah, Nick Saban definitely surprised. He surprised a lot of people with that play call. He surprised a lot of people just overall with the sloppiness and the lack of execution. I mean, that's something you don't
Very bad
normally.
execution on
Yeah,
both sides, but
both
really
sides.
Alabama.
And you don't see that from teams with those level of coaches. These are two higher upper echelon coaches, probably two of the best coaches in all of college football.
Right.
So to see those boys as sloppy as they played early, that was really shocking and surprising for me personally, because I thought those boys would have been ready. I thought the coaches would have had them ready from the start, but it turned out to be a good game. Michigan grinded it out and they did their thing to secure that win, and now they're going to the championship game that they're going to be playing against the eventual winner of that Washington versus Texas game, which turned out to be Washington. So that's a perfect segue into
Washington's nicer than I thought they were. They look good.
They are. And I'm going to be the first person to say, I ain't going to lie. I kind of crapped on Washington a little bit on the last episode. I did say that those boys didn't belong there. Like, they didn't really beat nobody. So I didn't really see why they were in the championship game. But to be honest, they showed me something. They came out there. I mean, I know the score was just 37-31, but if you watch that game, it didn't look that as close as that was.
It came down to the last possession too. When I went back and looked, Texas had a chance to tie the game, or actually win the game. Really,
exactly.
I would have won the game.
Exactly. Texas had a chance to come back at the end of that game, which was a testament just for Texas and their ability to continue to try to grind it out and try to make it a game. But again, as I was watching that game, I was noticing that Washington was just having their way, especially on the passing game. It didn't seem like those Texas corners could really stay with Washington's receivers, and they were getting whatever they wanted on the outside. So, again, salute to Washington Huskies, Husky Nation, all of y'all up there in the Seattle area, in the great Northwest. I owe y'all an apology. Salute to y'all, brother. I knew him say was wrong on that, but y'all definitely deserve to be in the playoffs, and y'all deserve to be playing in this championship game versus Michigan. So that's going to be a really, really interesting game, and we look forward to seeing that. We'll give y'all our predictions on that towards the end, but right now we're going to swing it over and switch over to the NFL. This was a really, really big week in NFL football. A lot of teams stamped their ticket to the playoffs. A lot of teams played their way out of the playoffs. Some teams just got exposed. Some teams just laid eggs.
For real.
It was bad. I mean, for a lot of teams that we didn't expect to look bad, they looked bad. Some teams turned into pumpkins, but we're going to also look at how we did with our predictions on what we predicted last week versus what happened today. What happened over the weekend. So let's start this off. Let me get this out the way first, because I've been getting a lot of messages and flack and heat from Cowboy fans. So Cowboy Nation, this is for y'all. I'm going to start off my NFL recap with you guys. So shout out to you Cowboys and your fans for beating the Detroit Lions 20-19. Was that a 1-point victory? I mean, 1 point is still a win, but I'm gonna give y'all that. It was 20-19 on a controversial call at the end of the game.
That I didn't see. I didn't know. I didn't see that call at first. Like everything happened so fast after they scored. And then, like, come to think of it, they told the ref the whole time. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, when I look back at it and then they say, okay, yeah, he did report, but the referee said he didn't report. And it was just crazy. Next thing you know, Cowboys win the game by 1 point, and now they acting like they're about to win the Super Bowl. But, sometimes it takes moments like that to actually, get you going and get your momentum going into the playoffs. But either way it go, Dak played lights out. Dak Prescott, he came through with 345 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. They also put themselves in position to win the division. By them winning that game, along with another surprising outcome that came from Philly, and we're going to talk about Philly a little later too, Dallas solidified themselves and they control their destiny. Because the Cowboys, if they win this game against Washington, they win the division.
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, we were not even thinking that was a realistic possibility for these boys to be in a position to win the division like they are now. So they control their own destiny and they can win the division. All they got to do is take care of business and beating the Washington Commanders, which doesn't really seem like a tall order at all. That seemed like light work. But
that seemed like a winnable game.
Very winnable, very winnable. So we'll take a look at that when the predictions come. Also, the Bills beat the New England Patriots. I don't think that was much of a surprise to a lot of us because I think we all picked Buffalo to beat New England in that game. But the score was a lot closer than I would have expected. They beat them 27-21, but by them winning that game, by Buffalo winning that game, that also puts the Bills in a position to win the AFC East. That puts them in a showdown with the Miami Dolphins, my Dolphins, for the AFC East championship. It comes
that's on the line. I didn't know that. That's on the line. The division winner is on the line for that game right there.
That makes a huge difference because it's not just a regular game. It's a game that Buffalo is playing for their playoff lives. The only way Buffalo makes the playoffs is if they win this game. They're going to be playing it as hard as they've probably played all season long to try to win it. Now, the Dolphins are already in it, but this would be huge for Miami to win because we want the division. For so many years, the division has belonged to New England Patriots because of Tom Brady. And now that Brady's been gone, here comes Buffalo. And now Buffalo has been kind of the flag holder for the AFC East. So now this is an opportunity for Miami to do that. But Buffalo definitely, shout out to Buffalo, even though I really hate to say that because I really can't stand Buffalo. I'm just going to be real. I don't really care for them too much. I don't like their quarterback. I don't like their colors. I don't like their stadium. I don't really like anything about them, but I got to call a spade, and they look real good. They've been playing really well. They're on a nice winning streak, and they put themselves in a position to win the AFC East.
Here they see Miami.
Gotta see us boys. Gotta come to gotta take on the 305 boys. But moving along, the Colts took care of the Raiders. That, again, was a game that I don't think was a surprise to me because I did pick the Colts in that game. Who did you go with on that game?
Colts.
You did go with the Colts too. I think Reese was the lone wolf on that one last week.
Shout out to Reese.
Salute to you, Reese. I see you out there, boy. But yeah, man, you picked the bad one, Reese. The Raiders. I know you're a big fan. You like Pierce and what he's doing with the Raiders and turning them around. But the Colts are on a mission. This game that the Colts just won, and even though they beat the Raiders 23-20. This keeps the Colts playoff hopes alive. So they had something to play for where the Raiders really didn't have nothing to play for. They knew their season was over, so the Colts played hard. That running back that the Colts have, John Taylor, he had 21 carries for 96 yards. 21 carries. They gave him the ball 21 times.
That's insane.
That's a lot of carries. He was toting it. And if it's working, then you keep going with it. He did almost have 96. I'm sorry. He almost had 100 yards. So that was a huge effort by him to tote the ball that many times. Also, another notable mention for the Colts, Trey Sermon also had 5 carries for 32 yards. So he came up. He's like a change of pace back for them. So when Taylor needed some breath to kind of come out the game or take some plays off, they went with Trey Sermon, who didn't really, didn't lose a beat. He didn't skip a beat. He came in and he still provided production. So salute to them. The Rams, Los Angeles Rams beat the Giants. We both picked
barely.
Yeah.
Point. It's still a win.
A win is a win, and we both.
I expected them to win at least more though, at least by a touchdown or so.
I expected it too.
Giants ain't got it no more right now. So this was supposed to be more of a stem game for the Rams to really take control and really win the game on a high note, but they got it done.
Yeah, I expected a little bit more from the Rams, especially playing against the Giants. But testament to the Giants. Everybody wrote them off. They still playing hard. Those boys are out there still playing, even though they ain't got much to play for in their season. They're still playing hard and they're trying to win games. I don't know what the status is of Saquon Barkley and what he's going to do as far as his contract and going forward with the Giants, or if they're gonna, put some more help, develop their O-line more. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they have a true star with Saquon Barkley, and it's unfortunate to see that his efforts aren't being used the way that they probably should.
Right, yeah.
But again,
and their QB situation as well. I think that's something to pay attention to, what they do with their QB.
That's a very, very good point. Very good point, because their backup quarterback who's been in there lately, was it DeVito? He's been balling out, but they also have to figure out what they're going to do with their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones. Like, we don't know what the situation, if they're going to move one of them, or they move both of them, are they going to try to draft the quarterback? Like, what are they going to do? So that's something we're going to keep our eye on with the G-Man going forward. Now, back to the Rams, they did clinch a playoff spot with that win, along with the Seahawks losing. So with that, the Rams are now in the playoffs officially. Matt Stafford, he was out there doing his thing, 24 for 34 for 317 passing yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. And then Puka Nacua. I've been waiting to say his name all day. I just like to say Puka.
I like Puka's game.
Yo, he showed me something. 5 catches for $118. Like 5 catches for $1. He was out there doing his thing. So get used to that name. If y'all haven't really heard his name too much, you're gonna see a lot and hear a lot of him. I look for him to make some noise in the playoffs too, but he definitely did his thing with $118 in receiving yards. So that was dope.
Stafford will have a little tandem going on between Puka and Cooper Kupp. That's gonna be his 1-2.
That is that, and that's not a bad 1-2 to have.
Not at all.
That's a pretty good 1-2 to rely on. So salute to those boys out there on the West Coast, out there making some noise. Now, the upset game of the week. I didn't see this coming, because I actually thought the upset was going to come in a different game. But the upset game of the week.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
Man, I didn't believe it. The Arizona Cardinals beat the Eagles 35-31. And I'm just going to run the numbers real quick, but then we got to talk about this a little bit. Kyler Murray did go for 232 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. So that was huge for Kyler Murray. So let's not act like, Kyler's a scrub. The Cardinals are 4-12. So, but still, James O'Connor had 26 carries. They're running. He carried the ball. And we was talking about somebody carrying it for 21 times. This man carried the ball 26 times. That's almost 30 carries that he toted for $128. So that goes to show that the Cardinals were controlling that tempo. Anytime you can give your running back 26 carries, that means you controlling the whole tempo, you controlling the time of possession and all of that. So that was huge. But going back to Philly, what's going on with those? Philly has not looked good over the last couple of weeks. Are they turning into a pumpkin on us? Like right before our eyes?
I'm saying it right now. The Philadelphia Eagles are not top 3. They're not winning the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
They have fallen down, in my opinion.
That's
just how I see it now. It's too late in the season right now for you to be losing to these teams when playoff position is on the line and teams that you're supposed to beat, you lose to.
Yeah, you said it all right there. This is not the time of the year. This is the time of year where you're supposed to be playing your best football. Like you're supposed to be. This is the time of year where the higher upper echelon teams separate themselves from the pack, where you can be like, okay, yeah, this team. This is time of the year where Jalen Hurts is supposed to put up so many numbers in the first half that they are blowing their team out, and now he can just sit for the whole second half to save himself and get ready for the playoff. But they're going into crunch time and in critical moments against a 4-12 team with a close score and still ended up losing that game. That is not a good look, Philly. That's not. So I'll just say this. I won't go as far as you and saying that, they're not a top. Well, yeah, they've fallen out the top 3, but I don't see them. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl, putting up this kind of effort with against these mediocre teams like that. There's no reason why a 4-12 team should beat them anywhere in anybody's arena. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Philly, I don't know what's going on with y'all, but y'all got to get it together. And now y'all about to give away the division. Y'all had the division in a chokehold all year. Y'all had the NFC East in a chokehold all season long, but
They
y'all
started out
went.
with 9-1, similar to last year. They had the same record starting.
Yeah, you're right. And now here it is. It's the end of the season, and they decide to wet the bed. So this is not a good look, Philly. We'll see if y'all can turn it around or if y'all play better in the playoffs. But it's not a good look. Like my man Dave said, this ain't the time for that. So let's get past Philly. The 49ers, San Francisco, they beat the Washington Commanders 27-10. As expected, we didn't really see much of a challenge that was going to be put up by Washington playing against the 49ers. Plus, the Niners were coming off that rough loss that nobody saw that coming either. Brock Purdy came through with a clean 22 for 28 completions, 230 passing yards with 2 touchdowns. So this is looking more like the 49ers team that we've seen all year long. Right. So maybe last week was just a hiccup, and the prior game was just a hiccup. And this is really the San Francisco team that we should expect in the playoffs. And especially with Philly looking so bad now, San Francisco has got to now be looking – they got to be feeling really good about themselves right about now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so shout out to you, Brock Purdy. I know we kind of got down on you last episode, but you came back and you showed us you did your thing. It's about production this time of year, so you got to produce, and that's what he did. Moving along, the Jacksonville Jags, they blanked the Panthers 26-0. And to make it so bad,
it was crazy.
Yo, I'm telling you. And not only that, to make it so bad, the Jags did it with their backup quarterback, CJ Beathard. This guy, I've never really even seen him play before, but he came in there and did his thing. Now, they did rely mostly on their running game because the Jags as a team combined for 155 rushing yards as a team. So they were really, trying to control the tempo. They didn't want to put too much on their backup quarterback by having to make him, make plays down the field with his arm. They just relied on their running game, which was enough. And that anything should be enough to beat a team like the Panthers, because the Panthers looks like right now they're just playing for a draft pick.
Another one. That's going to be 2 top 5 picks back to back.
Yeah, I don't know if they tanking or what, but it's starting to look like these boys ain't even really trying, because
they've been tanked since week 5 when they was 5-0, 0-5.
Yo, at this point, if they win games, they might get in trouble. Like their management gonna be like, "Yo, coach gonna start pulling people out the game if they start playing too good." Like, "Yo, you messing up our draft pick out here. We trying to put together." But watch out for them though, because in a few years, when all of these little young draft picks that they got start getting a little more experience, they might actually do something. I do like their quarterback though. I like the Panthers quarterback, but
Bryce Young, yeah.
They're just not ready, man. And the Jags ended a 4-game losing streak by winning this game. So the Jags was on a skid. Like they was almost out of there too. But by them winning this game with their backup quarterback, it saved a little hope for them for the season. So salute to everybody in Jacksonville, Duval County. Y'all stand up. Shout out to y'all. This one breaks my heart a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Dolphins down into the ground. They beat my Dolphins 56-19.
They put y'all on the plate and served it to the whole arena.
They did, man. They chopped up. They had chopped dolphin chops and put it on a shish kebab stick.
Right.
And they was passing it around, and everybody was getting a bite. Man, it was hard. It was a tough game to watch. I mean, it was a complete beatdown.
Ravens is tough. They look good. I don't know where it just came from. Lamar, they had a speech or something, or what's going on, but they didn't turn it up a notch.
Well, in our defense, Lamar is from South Florida, so shout out to a South Florida boy putting it on his hometown team. So, but he played on. He had a perfect passer rating. You know how hard it is to have a perfect passer rating in the game. My man Lamar, 5 touchdowns with no picks, 321 passing yards.
That's crazy.
Crazy. You passed for over 300 5 touchdowns, no picks. That's as clean as it gets. Outside of him getting sacked a couple of times early in the game, he looked flawless. And if I'm anybody in the AFC, that's definitely the team to beat. But
Stay away from Baltimore for sure.
Hands down. Hats off to Baltimore. Now, Miami's offense, we couldn't get it going. I mean, Tua had 2 picks. Now, our running back, A-Chain, he did have over 100 yards. But that was more so due to Baltimore taking away our deep threat. Mm-hmm. Baltimore played a defense as to where they would not let Tyreek get behind that secondary. They covered Tyreek with their best corner, their fastest corner, and then they came over the top with a safety to double him. So there was anywhere he went, that safety followed him. Any side of the field he was on, that corner went over there with him. So Tyreek could not really get off the way that we're used to seeing him get off.
They was closing them short gaps.
They definitely were. And one thing that I noticed about my quarterback, Tua, is that when you do take away that first option from Tua, he struggles a little bit. If he has to go and check down to a second and third option, that's where his weakness comes in, because he's really good at anticipating and getting rid of the ball quickly. But when he's forced to hold the ball, make decisions, and move around a little bit more, that's where he sometimes has issues. So I would love to see Tua shore that part of his game up. But all in all, it just was not happening against Baltimore. And Baltimore did put that body rock on us. They put us in a body bag and sent us back to the 305. So, I got to call a spade and keep it real. Now, this also forces Miami into a showdown with Buffalo, as we were saying. Had Miami taken care of that game or the prior game before that, we would have had the AFC East locked up. But now, because of the fact that we basically fluked it and gave it away, now Buffalo has a chance to win next week and take the AFC East. So we're going to see how that turns out and what happens with that. But also special mention in that game, linebacker Bradley Chubb, our best linebacker, with 3 minutes left in the game with garbage time. We're down by like 1 million points. He's still in the game and tears his ACL with 3 minutes. Yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
Yo, that's crazy. No, I wish I didn't know that. I wish that didn't happen. I wish that I'm just dreaming that I'm saying this and that didn't really happen. But when it happened, I'm looking at it like, yo, is this really happening? Our coach McDaniels, okay, God bless his soul. He's a really good coach. He's having a really good year. The Dolphins have been playing really well with him at the helm, but he's been known to make some really, really bad, questionable personnel decisions. Going back to last year, when Tua had just suffered a concussion, he comes back into the same game that he was concussed and forced to play through that, and he gets hit and gets concussed again, to where he's laying there and his fingers are folded back and all that. There is no reason why he should have been playing in that game. Tua's season.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and you also remember, if you don't know if you remember, but going back a game before that, when he was playing against Buffalo, he got knocked down, got up, and he wobbled a little bit and kind of stumbled and fell again. And they still put him back in and still allowed him to play the next game. And that's where he had that debacle where he got hit, his helmet hit the back, his eyes kind of rolled back, and everything locked up. At that moment,
bad player management right there.
Horrible player management. Now, Coach McDaniels is really good at drawing up plays. He's a good motivator, but personnel management is not his thing. Because here we go again with Bradley Chubb in a game that's already out of hand with 3 minutes left in the game, and you got your best linebacker. You still have your starters in the game. Mind you, we're already short at linebacker because we already lost Jalen Phillips earlier in the season with a similar injury. So right now, our defense is getting kind of thin. And this is not the time to be doing that. He should not have been in the game, and that McDaniel, you got to hold this L. You got to hold that L, and I don't care. I know all my fellow Dolphin fans are going to tell me, oh, no, it wasn't him. It was the team was, oh, he's just injury prone. No, I ain't trying to hear that, man. McDaniel, you got to hold this L. And I'm hoping you turn this around. I hope you got a plan up your sleeve, because if you don't, I'm blaming this on you. And we're going to see how this turns out next week. I'm sorry. I got a little beside myself. I had to.
Hey, I feel that's your team. You got to let it out against your team. Man. I understand.
It's utterly ridiculous. Got me out here. I'm on social media and having to answer to people talking about, how that 50 burger tastes. Yeah, how this good. Yeah, y'all boys ain't going to do nothing. Now y'all lost Chubb. Y'all, and I got to sit here. I got to deal with this. Not McDaniel. He's sitting in his nice, South Beach villa estate mansion somewhere, sipping margaritas with coconut cups with the hula straws in there, and I'm sitting out here having to defend his bonehead decisions. So McDaniels, I'm hoping that this is just something that you're going through now, but please get your player management together. Please, for the sake of me, my blood pressure, and everybody else in Dolphin Nation, please get it together. I don't want to talk about it no more. Kansas City Chiefs. They got
Yes, sir. We back in the win column, man, on a bounce back game that we needed, and we got it.
Y'all did that. Y'all took care of the Bengals 25-17. Y'all shut out the Bengals in the second half. They didn't score a point in the second half at all. Patrick Mahomes, boy, 21 for 29 with 245 yards. Your boy Pacheco, he was getting loose. My man was toting it. 18 carries for $130.
Pacheco's been their running back since like third week when they just made the decision to switch him, because he really is a receiver, but he can run. He's really a receiver, but like he's playing both positions, really.
And he's wearing Tyreek Hill's number, which I thought was a little disrespectful. But I mean, hey, it ain't retired, so anybody can get it at this point.
Shout out Pacheco, big game.
Yeah, salute Pacheco. I see you also for changing positions the way you did. At this level, it's not that easy. It's easy to do it in college. It's easy to do it in high school, but to do it in the NFL at this high level, and y'all boys are winning, and you were part of the defending championship team, then shout out Pacheco. Salute to y'all, and they're playing good football going into the playoffs, and this is the time where you want to do it. So salute to your Chiefs. You called that one. I believe I called that one as well. So we both got that pick correct.
W pick
on that one. Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay beat the Vikings 33-10.
I didn't see this coming at all.
33-10. And if I'm not mistaken, that game was in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. So the Packers went on the road and dropped 33.
That's tough.
Jordan Love. I was telling y'all, Jordan Love, 24 for 33, 256 yards, 3 touchdown passes. I told y'all Jordan Love was the real deal. Aaron Rodgers knew he was the real deal too, which is why he didn't want to mentor him. When they was asking Rodgers, will you mentor this young quarterback? Rodgers must have seen something. He saw something in practice. He must have saw something in film or something on tape where he was like, yo, this Jordan Love, he the real deal. I ain't teaching him nothing. I ain't showing him nothing. Same way, similar to when Brett Favre was the starter of the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre saw something in Aaron Rodgers and did the same thing. He did not want to mentor Aaron Rodgers. He didn't want him, sitting next to him. He didn't want to share no secrets and no tips with him or nothing. Brett Favre saw something in Aaron Rodgers that made him know that, this kid eventually is going to take my job. And I think that's the same thing Aaron Rodgers is noticing about Jordan Love, or what he did notice, which made him eventually leave the Packers. But Jordan Love is the real deal. I mean, he makes all the throws. He's got the mobility. He's got the accuracy. He has the ability to read the defense and check off from the first to the second to the third read. And he throws a beautiful ball. He throws a really nice ball. So shout out to the Packers and Jordan Love. I know you picked the Vikings in that one.
I had the Vikings. Sure did. I'm going to take that one on the chin.
Yeah, you got to hold that one.
Is the Packers, are they still right there in that playoff hunt?
Yeah, I think with that game, it
They're
kept them.
500 now. I think they're 500.
It kept them alive, and it kind of put them in a position where they still have a shot, depending on how things go in this last week. So yeah, they definitely do have a chance. I don't know how realistic. I don't know. I think they need some help. They might need some help from some other teams, but all in all, that was a very good showing. And if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, which I'm obviously not, but if I was a Green Bay Packer fan, I'll be feeling really encouraged. I'll be feeling real encouraged by what I'm seeing out of Jordan Love. So, salute to Jordan Love. We should see a lot more from him to come. And that wraps up all of our picks from last week and how things went there. So, all in all, it was a really good week of football. It was a really good football week. I'm really excited to see what happens next week and this coming week and how things are going to look. But yeah, that's it for football. Now we're going to swing things over to the NBA, to basketball. First thing that I want to address with this basketball season, salute to the Detroit Pistons, the 3-1-3.
Yeah.
What up, though? Shout out to y'all.
Long 28th streak.
They finally snapped that losing streak. That's right. Against the Toronto Raptors. It was a long 28 game journey, man. Like, I didn't know, to be honest with you, I thought it was going to make it to 30. Once they broke that record and they kept it, I was like, it don't look good at all for them. But they were able to beat the Raptors. So what is that? Does that say more for the Pistons, or does it say more for how trash the Raptors are? Like,
Raptors. It really speaks on the Raptors. I ain't gonna lie. It's on the Raptors for that one. You weren't supposed to be the team. Yeah. Everybody said don't be the team and lose to the team. And who would have thought the Raptors would be the team?
Yeah, it was the Raptors. It was them. I really don't have no words for that because honestly, I didn't see that coming. I thought the Raptors would be able to handle that and take care of that, but they were not able to. But I mean, sticking with Detroit, when this season first started, and I looked at the Detroit roster and I looked at their coach, I didn't see 28 games in a row losing.
No one. I don't think no one did. Not even in Detroit. I don't think no one seen this coming. Now we didn't know we were going to be like good and like, okay, we're going to be top 5 in the East and whatever. We're like, okay, we building. We got some nice pieces. Maybe we could work our way in a play-in or something like that. But we didn't see this coming.
This is historically bad. Like this is a historically bad team with a coach that's making a lot of money. Monty Williams
contract $13 million a year.
Good Lord.
For $78 million.
Yeah. So man, your coach is making that. He's basically the highest paid coach in NBA history.
You're right.
In NBA history, but he also has a 28 game losing streak on his resume that's going to follow him for the rest of his career and the rest of his life. So with that being said, if it's not the coaching, what is it? What's the problem with Detroit?
It's really the players, though. It's more around. Cade needs more.
Because he's a beast. Cade Cunningham, he's the only one who was giving the Pistons a chance to win any of those games that they were losing. But he didn't have help. So
they really got 3 players. I still like Ivy, even though he has his ups and downs.
Oh, my goodness.
I still like Ivy, and
I like what you see in that
I like Jalen Duren. That's it. Everybody else, I don't care for on the team.
I don't know, man. Duren, that Ivy guy. Don't y'all? Wiseman is on the roster too.
Wiseman's okay.
Wiseman is. I like Wiseman's game. I like Cade, but outside of that, Bogdanovich, he'll make a shot here and there, but his defense is extremely suspect. Bogdanovich can't guard nobody. I watched him on like 4 or 5 possessions where the guy he was defending just went right past him like they was going through a McDonald's drive-through. They just like Olay, and he can't stop.
The Raptors game?
Yeah, well, in the I mean, I'm talking about even in the Brooklyn game when they had a chance to beat Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, you're right.
When they had a chance to beat Brooklyn to avoid the record, Bogdanovich was out there playing that Olay defense. I mean, that boy. I don't know if it's just. I don't even want to speculate why he can't play no defense, but his defense was trash. So I agree. I think it is personnel related. I don't really think it's coach related, because again, Monty's had success at his last team when he was in Phoenix. I think he took those boys to the finals, right? They were in the NBA finals where they lost to Milwaukee and Giannis. Yeah. So for him to have that kind of coaching pedigree is definitely, I wouldn't put it on him. And this is just his first season with Detroit. So I would like to see him, have another chance. I would like to see how he looks next year. Because, I mean, it's a shame that we're already talking about next year in the season. We ain't even halfway through the season yet.
Oh, yeah, the Pistons season's over.
For the Pistons, they're already
draft stock and just in continuity, building the team. That's it. That's all they playing for.
For the Pistons, I hate to see it and I hate to say it, but that is definitely the case. It doesn't look like they have much to play for this season unless they do a miraculous turnaround, which is possible, but I just don't see it. So salute to the Pistons, though. Y'all did break the losing streak. Y'all did turn it around. So 3-1-3 in the building. So shout out to y'all. Final pieces of NBA action. There was a huge trade. Last week in the NBA. The Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks. The Knicks sent over Emmanuel Quickley and R.J. Barrett in exchange for OG Anunoby. That was a huge trade and a huge deal.
That wasn't a bad trade.
I wouldn't say it was bad. Now, me initially, when I first looked at the trade, I said to myself that that the New York Knicks gave up too much. I initially thought that the Knicks gave up too much in that deal because they gave up their most versatile player in RJ Barrett. RJ has the ability to play point, two guard, small forward, and maybe a little four, depending on their lineup. So he's really versatile. He can shoot the three ball. He can shoot free throws. He can, penetrate and get into the lane, and he can pass. That's their most versatile player. In addition to that, they also gave up Emmanuel Quickley, who's their best three-point shooter on the team that they had. So when I first looked at it, I was like, dang, man, the Knicks gave up a lot for OG Anunoby. Now, they did get better defensively because we all know OG Anunoby is one of the best defenders in the league. So he can lock down pretty much anybody. So I do admit that the Knicks got better defensively. And not to mention that the Knicks won their first game with OG Anunoby in the lineup. So already it's starting to pay some dividends for them. As far as Toronto, they end up getting R.J. Barrett, who is from Canada. I believe he's from Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. So he's actually going back home to play for his hometown, which a lot of people don't get to do. He's already come out to say this is a dream come true for him. He feels excited. He feels happy. And I didn't honestly think that R.J. Barrett was really a New York guy. He doesn't really have that New York kind of personality with that. He just seems like he's more content being in the background, and he wants to just get his numbers quietly. He wants to be under the radar. So maybe the spotlight of Madison Square Garden in New York was too much for him, but he ended up now in the team that he wanted to play for. So it worked out for him as well as for Emmanuel Quickley, because Toronto also won their first game with their new players. So it's kind of hard to say who won that trade and who lost the trade, especially since both of the teams won with their new teammates. So maybe
I would say New York will win the trade because they're going to be more deep into the playoffs than Toronto.
Agreed.
Toronto's probably going to be playing in. The Knicks like right there in that 5-6 spot, so it's more likely for them to just not have to play in and have a regular seed.
I agree with you on that. Do you think that at some point, though, the Knicks are going to – because, in the playoffs, everything slows down. Like, everything slows down. The possessions are cut in half. So do you think that the Knicks' newfound defensive specialist is going to offset their loss of three-point shooting and their loss of offense? Because they lost a lot of offense losing RJ and Quickley.
More so Quickley just because of how he can come off the bench and provide a spark.
Yeah,
they probably will miss that a little bit because New York really doesn't have a deep bench. Right. They rely more on their starters and Brunson and Randall. So it's going to be hard to see how they combine and come together with that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And as a Miami Heat fan, I will admit that I'm kind of relieved to see RJ Barrett leave, because RJ used to give us some problems in the playoffs. A lot of Knicks fans, they didn't really want to admit to how good RJ was for them, but RJ really gave us issues. Like, he was the guy who was giving us problems. Like, we had to account for him. We couldn't just sit back and just let him shoot threes all day. And then if we tried to pressure him and get in him, he could just go right by. He had a back down game. He had a post up game. I mean, he was really versatile. So shout out to Toronto and New York for making something happen. I would love to see my Heat make some kind of deal too. Hello, Pat Riley. Hello, we still out here. We can still make a deal to try to get Jimmy and get Bam and Jimmy some help. So we can get them boys some help, then things might actually turn out a little bit better. But salute to the New York Knicks and Toronto for making that trade. That was a real good trade for both teams. I can't really say who won that trade, so that was pretty dope. Last little bit of NBA action that I want to touch on. Kyrie Irving, he just made his return after a 12-game absence. He had 12 games that he missed out on, but he's now back into the lineup. So welcome back, Kyrie. Zach LaVine for the Chicago Bulls will be making his return in about a week back to the Bulls roster and the Bulls lineup. He's also missed a lot of time. So it's going to be good to kind of see those guys get back out there to help their respective teams. And it's still enough time in the season that things can happen and they can kind of turn things around and make it all work out. So that's pretty much all I got for the NBA that I wanted to touch on with that we're going to touch. This episode's historic moment. I want to salute to Jimmy Butler. In 2016, Jimmy Butler broke Michael Jordan's record for the most points scored in a half. Jimmy scored 40 points in the second half to lead the Chicago Bulls to a 115-113 victory over the Raptors. That was on this very day in 2016. Mm-hmm. Now, Klay Thompson also had 37 points in a quarter versus the Kings. That also happened more recently as well. But Jimmy Butler was the first to break Michael Jordan's record in 2016. So that's our history moment, as well as Nick Saban. Coach Nick Saban in 2006, on this very day, he resigned from my Miami Dolphins as a coach and accepted that Alabama job that he's at right now, that he's held down for so many years, and kind of turned Alabama into a winning program and now have them as
legendary program.
Legendary. Every year, those boys, he turns out some of the best recruits. I think Reese was just saying last week, like, Nick Saban can just walk into your living room and just say, "Hey, I'm Nick Saban," and tell your son who plays football to come to my school, and he'll just do it just based on him being Nick Saban.
Right.
He is. So
they're gonna want to play for him.
Yeah, he's developed that kind of reputation. So shout out to Nick Saban, and shout out to Alabama once again. Now, going back to Jimmy Butler's 40 points in the second half. Can you think of a moment that you remember, anybody, or what's the most points you've seen somebody score in a half? Like, I know it might be tough to, but the most I can think of Kobe when he had that 81-point game against the Raptors. I think of Klay Thompson when he scored 37 points in one quarter versus the Kings.
That was crazy.
That one was crazy because I think he went, I don't know how many threes he made, but
it was 10 plus.
It was like 10 plus. It was ridiculous just watching him go crazy like that. Now, we haven't seen that Klay in a while. we ain't seen that Klay Thompson in a good
minute.
Was
prime. That was like before prime Klay, before Golden State was winning championships. Before it was just like running through the whole league.
Yeah, that was way before that. So
that was about 2014, 15, right? Exactly when they run started.
Absolutely right. It was somewhere around that, and that's kind of what ignited that run and kind of sparked them to getting to where they are right now, and having all these championships, having that big three. So salute to you, Klay Thompson, also for making history and being a part of the historic moment.
Shout out Klay. I still believe in you, Klay. Still
Yeah,
believe in
we all do. We all still believe in Klay Thompson. I mean, there was somebody was saying that Klay hasn't developed much to his game since he came into the league. I think it was Gilbert Arenas on his podcast. Gilbert Arenas was saying Klay Thompson is still basically the same guy that he was when he came into the league. The only thing I would say to that is he's a lot better than than he was when he came into the league. He does everything that he was already doing, but he just does it a lot better. So
and Clay actually got better as a defender as well. He wasn't known as a defender. So the last 4-5 years, especially before the injury, he was playing defense. And
yeah.
on like the top players in the other team.
Yeah, he was an excellent defender, and he still is. So I mean, that's something that he didn't have coming into the league that he has developed to his game. So, again, Klay Thompson, keep doing your thing. Don't let the naysayers, put you down. You still an elite player in this league, and I love to watch you play. So, Klay Thompson, salute to you. All right, now wrapping this up as we getting close to our time here. We're gonna definitely hit y'all off with the 2-minute drill. This is our 2-minute drill brought to you by us at the Sports Time Zone. Salute to everybody out there watching once again. Real quick, in MMA action, Conor McGregor announced his return and that he'll be fighting in Las Vegas on June 29th in the International Fight Week versus Michael Chandler. Now, we haven't seen Conor McGregor fight in some years. It's been some years since Conor McGregor has fought, so that brings a lot of excitement back into the UFC and the MMA just to see him come back and take on some competition. I don't know what he has left in the tank because Conor's he's a bit older now. So I don't know if this Michael Chandler guy is supposed to just be a warm-up for him to get a bigger fight, or if this Michael Chandler guy is going to expose Conor and make Conor look like he shouldn't have never came back to begin with. So I'm looking forward to that. We got a long way to go before
beating on McGregor.
Yeah,
put a beating on him.
I could see that happening. I remember when Khabib beat Conor, like he choked him out, jumped on his back, and just like Conor wore him like a coat for the whole fight. Couldn't get him off, just choked him out, and that made Conor look very mortal. That was the beginning of the end of Conor McGregor as I knew him. So we'll see. I mean, he's coming back. He says he's ready. He says he's in shape. He's healthy. He's training. So we'll see what happened with Conor on that one. Now, moving quickly down the line, we're going to go ahead and run through our NFL picks for the final week number 18.
Final week before the playoffs. I can't wait till the playoffs start. I can't wait.
If they ain't ready, they better get ready because this is it right now. First and foremost, Saturday's matchup: Pittsburgh at Baltimore Ravens. Who you got?
Ravens.
I'm going Ravens too on that one. Lamar is just looking too good. The only way I could see the Ravens not winning is if they decide to sit their starters, which I don't see happening. I see them continuing to play to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Houston versus Indianapolis Colts. Who you got?
Houston.
I'm going Colts on that one. I feel like, again, the Colts.
Are the Colts at home?
The Colts are at home. Give you a chance to change it. I give you a chance to change it, or if you want to stamp Houston, and stamp them.
I like Houston.
Well, hey, keep it.
The Colts, are they still off their backup QB?
Yes, they are. They're still off their backup quarterback, but again, Indianapolis has something to play for. They're playing for their playoff lives here. Houston, at this point, they're just trying to play spoilers. So we'll just keep our eye on that one. I hear you, Houston. H-Town in the building. I see y'all boys down there. DJ Screw, rest in peace. Zero, Slim Thug, all them boys, UGK, stand up.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to go Colts.
You going Indy? All right.
I see Colts.
We both got Indy on that one, so we got the Colts in that game. All right, Sunday's matchups are as follows. Cleveland at Cincinnati Bengals. Who you got?
Bengals.
I'm going Bengals on that one too. I don't see Cleveland doing much of anything at this point, but we'll see. Minnesota Vikings at Detroit.
I'm going to go Lions.
I'm going Lions too. They shouldn't have lost that game against the Cowboys, and they know it. So I think they're going to come out for their last regular season game at home in Detroit, and I think they're gonna put on a show. Minnesota is still reeling because they just got blown out in their own building by Green Bay and Jordan Love. So
Right.
I think Detroit's gonna pull that one out. Jacksonville at Tennessee Titans. Who you got?
Titans.
I'm going Tennessee on that one too. Tennessee, they've proven a lot to me over the last couple of weeks, especially the way that they beat my Dolphins in comeback fashion in the fourth quarter. That's going to forever be a game that I never forget. I'll never forget how we had that meltdown and how these boys just came in. And that was bad coaching, but I'm not going to go into that. I already said enough about McDaniels. But Jacksonville, Tennessee, I'm going Tennessee on that one. The Jets at New England Patriots. Who you got?
I'm going New England.
This is Bill Belichick's last game in New England in his stadium.
Is he going to retire?
Well, I don't know if he's going to retire.
Is he going to go to another team?
I think he's going to another team. They already said for sure he's not coming back to New England.
I didn't see none of that. I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not officially out there, but it's pretty much the word on the street, and usually the word on the street is right about stuff like that. But Bill Belichick,
Patriots, just for the last game.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking New England on that one too. I would never go against Belichick in his last game at home. Nah, I got New England.
And I think it's going to be a defensive battle. These are really two defensive teams, not really relying on offense.
It is, and for the players,
quarterback situations as well. So
for those young players, they don't want to have that on their resume either. That the last game of a legendary coach, they were the team that lost it. So. I mean, I think the players gonna want to, they're gonna come out. They're gonna suit up for Belichick. ATL Falcons versus New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Who you got?
Saints.
I'm going Saints too. Them Dirty Birds. Atlanta, they're just such a hard team to gauge for me sometimes. Mm-hmm. And when it's that hard, I'm going with the home team, and I'm going with New Orleans. Tampa Bay Bucks at Carolina Panthers. Who you got?
Tampa Bay.
Easy. I don't think Carolina even steps off the plane.
The boys not ready.
Yeah, Tampa Bay in a blowout. Even though they're in Green Bay. Oh, I'm sorry, they're in Carolina. So Tampa Bay still blowout. I like them. Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. Who you got?
I'm going to go Packers.
Packers still playing for something. Chicago, I like Green Bay, but I like Justin Fields to have a really, really good game. Mm-hmm. But I don't like his team to win. I like him to have a good game. Reason being, this is his last game before the team decides what they're going to do with him. They got these high – remember last week Reese was saying they got these high draft picks. They got all these draft picks. And if he goes out there and lays an egg, I guarantee you they're going to use one of them draft picks on a quarterback.
Right.
If he goes out there and balls out of his mind, he's going to make it hard on the front office to move on from him. Then they may draft a lineman to block for him, or they may draft a receiver. So this game is Justin Fields. This is like his coming out. He's going to have to show his shit pretty much. And I think he is going to do it. So I like Justin Fields to have a big game, but Green Bay to win. Denver at Las Vegas Raiders. Who you got? What did Reese call it? The who cares? The
who cares game.
The who cares game. This might be one of those. So in the who cares game, I'm taking the Raiders at home.
Versus who they playing again?
The Denver Broncos.
I'm gonna go Raiders.
Okay. Yeah, we both got Raiders. Philly at New York Giants.
Philly.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that Philly is so trash that they're going to go in there and lose to the New York Giants. Now, I know they've been trash, but I find it really hard. Like, they lose this game, then these boys might be a first round out in the playoffs. So I like Philly. Jalen Hurts been listening all week to people talk down on him, so I like Philly. Seattle Seahawks versus Arizona.
Who at home?
Arizona is at home.
I'm going Arizona.
I'm gonna take Arizona too. Arizona,
Seahawks disappointed when they lost last week to the Steelers, a game
exactly.
that they were supposed to
They
win,
were
that I
supposed to
had them
win that
winning too.
game, and they did not. So yeah,
And Cardinals coming off that Eagles win, so they ready to tee up at home.
that's what I'm feeling too. I'm feeling the same way. I like the Cardinals. They just upset like the NFC champions from last year. So yeah, I got Arizona. Uh, Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. Who you
Chiefs.
got? Chiefs easy. I'm going with the Chiefs on that one too. The LA Chargers, they about to get rid of their coach. They probably got a new coach coming in real soon. I don't really see them having nothing to play for right now. Kansas City is on a mission. Them boys they're on a mission right now. So
We getting right.
yeah, at the right time. Getting right at the right time. Kansas City, I got them in that one. Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. That's a tricky one. What you got?
San Francisco.
You got Frisco. They are at home. Because they're at home, I'm going with San Francisco. But the way Matthew Stafford is looking, don't be surprised, man. Don't be surprised if LA steals that one. But I just don't see San Francisco.
I don't see it. And Stafford could have at least one or two interceptions.
Yeah,
Against
yeah.
their defense.
And San Fran is at home. So, yeah, I'm going with 49ers too. Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders.
I'm gonna go Cowboys.
I'm going Cowboys also. The Cowboys got they've had a really cake schedule. Like if you look at the teams that they've played, they've had a really favorable schedule, and then they get to close out against one of the worst teams in the league. Like so, Dallas, I take Dallas to win that game against Washington, and Dallas wins the NFC East with that game. Last but not least, Buffalo Bills in the 305 versus the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins. I'm going Dolphins.
And when I was
don't got it.
okay, so you like the Dolphins, and I know when we were speaking earlier, I was kind of leaning towards Buffalo just based on the fact that we're missing Chubb, the way that we looked against Baltimore, and the way that Buffalo has looked in the last 3 or 4 games that they've played. To me, it just felt like this is Buffalo's game. But I've had a change of heart, and I'm not going against my boys. We are at home. We're in the 305. We're in Miami. I like my Dolphins to beat Buffalo and win the AFC East in doing so. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my word, and I'm sticking to it. We're going to see how these picks look next week when it's our time to shine, and we'll see how everything goes. One last little small tidbit.
I also want to see how Miami responds too after that Ravens game last week. So I think this is a big response for them. And the division's on the line. I think they win it.
This is big. And Tua, he's got to take this one personal. He's got to take this game personal. He laid an egg out there against Baltimore. He couldn't really get anything right. He looked really bad. And the Dolphins are without also, it looks like Jalen Waddle might be out of that game too. He practiced only limited time in practice, so I don't know if he's going to play. But either way, regardless, it's next man up. We are at home. And Tua, this is your opportunity to shut everybody up about you.
I'm going 2 or 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
303 touchdowns. I see. This is Buffalo. I could see him going crazy like that. I'm gonna go 285 yards, and I'm gonna also go with 3 touchdowns. I'm also gonna say our running game gets going, and we have a combined with all of our running backs together, we go over 100 yards rushing. So that's my bold prediction for that. Also, a little quick tidbit: Russell Wilson has been benched by the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson will no longer be the quarterback starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And it's also said at the end of the season that Denver may also be looking to move Russell Wilson because
Which they should.
there's some tension going on between him and the coach, or him and management. Something's going on, and Mr. Sierra is not going to be in the Denver Broncos uniform next year. So we'll see what happens with that. But all in all,
it really hasn't went well since last year when he went to Denver. They started off slow, couldn't win. Then they won like 2 games at the end of the year.
yeah,
Then we come into this year, they're like, okay, maybe they'll be better. Still starting off bad. They have looked better though recently since
they have recently. But I'm gonna go a little further back than that. Man, my man Russell Wilson, he ain't been back to the Super Bowl since he
in Seattle.
he ain't been since Sierra.
Sierra, you think Sierra is causing the problems?
Hey, if she ain't causing a problem, she definitely ain't helping it. Because, like I said, last time Russell Wilson was in a Super Bowl was before Sierra. Once he got with her, he slow. He didn't just immediately go like this. He started going, and then now it's like he's plateaued out. But I still think he's got a lot of game left in him. I'm not going to put it on his relationship with his woman or nothing like that, because a lot of athletes, after they get married, their production is not the same as it was before. So it's not just Russell. It's not just Sierra. It could just be a number of things going on with him, including his age. He's getting a little older. But Russell Wilson, salute to you. I wish you the best in your next team, and whoever you decide to suit up for, whatever happens. I'm looking forward to that, and I always wish the best for brothers out here doing their thing. So that's all I got right now for the 2-minute drill. Anything you want to add, Dave, before we wrap this thing up?
Nope. I feel like we covered everything right there.
All right.
I'm ready to see how this week unfolds.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to see it too. I'm looking forward to it. We appreciate everybody once again for signing in and tuning in with us, for supporting the boys. Yeah, appreciate the support for the guys. We love y'all out there. Don't forget, once again, like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get the views up. We want to keep giving you fire content, and salute to everybody out there who supports us. This is the Sports Time Zone. Yours truly, Brother Numsi, alongside my co-host, Dave. Shout out to one and only, the only one. We about to get into these games this weekend and see what happens. So we'll see y'all boys next week, Wednesday, same time. Peace.
Peace.